Welcome, everyone, to another episode of AIME's Grow and Get It. I'm Tom Ahles, president of Growth. Today, I get my good pal, Emmett Dempsey, broker owner, Treasure Coast Mortgage. Emmett and his wife are very active in the broker community, always really leading by example. They're there to help. They're there to support. They're, been big members on our advocacy side, making sure that they're there, not only plugged into the knowledge that's going on. Sometimes we don't get a chance to realize because we get to see everything that you do for us as an association. But let's not forget, you guys got to write mortgages, right? And I know you do. And I know your wife has a great processing company as well. But today, I want to spend a little time with you and really find out, some of the things that you're doing to win in this market, right? Hopefully we can give our membership some good pieces of information, have them take it and go execute and continue to grow and get it. So, one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about is really, what is your approach to your social media content creation?
Gotcha. Hey, Tom, thank you so much for having me on. Basically, my approach is basically our job is to answer questions and to solve problems. Because ultimately, a first-time home buyer or a realtor has problems they want to solve, and your content is the bridge to the solution. So ultimately, my approach is I want to create evergreen, highly searchable content on YouTube and Instagram primarily in order to solve problems. And I believe every loan officer is going to be seen before they're known. So one of the comments I have is I see you everywhere, which is a good thing to have, because even when you're cold calling a realtor or meeting them out at a social function, they're going to say, "Hey, I see you. How do I know you from?" And that happens all the time because of being consistent with your content helps kind of lead the charge before you even make that phone call. So that's
100%. They get a chance to know you a little bit before they even know you. So, with that content, I know consistency is key, right? I've always tried for myself, one or two things business related, some things personal related. Try not to have it all one thing. With your strategy with it, is it all business and you're pushing it through Treasure Coast Mortgages, Instagram, and or is it in your personal name? Talk to me a little bit about that.
Well, it needs to be platform specific. Basically, for me, YouTube is where I started, and I think that's still the 800-pound gorilla. So when I'm focusing on YouTube, through batching is how I stay more consistent. Like you do certain tasks, like you do content ideation or write scripts and then film all at once. So batching has been very successful. Instagram is more of an interactive platform. It's more good for conversion. So you can kind of either in your Instagram stories, you connect your YouTube videos. There's a lot of successful LOs out there that do that. So again, just staying consistent that way.
Sounds good. I know a lot of people, like we've heard Gary V at some of our AIM events. We've heard, Brian Decker that was out at UWM Live with his. When we talk about consistency, right? What does consistency mean to you when we're talking about how often? I know you're recording a bunch of it, it sounds like in batches, so you can kind of knock it out, take cuts or reels and post that. But explain to me what your definition of consistency is when it in result to like how many times, like when do you post? Is it certain days of time, certain how many pieces a week?
Right. Well, I believe that these platforms, if you post every single day, especially on Instagram, and doing a reel a day, and I also like to say there's offense and the defense of social media, because the defense is kind of like creating videos, because that's basically kind of table stakes. You got to create the content, but also offense of social media is being social. Like on Instagram stories, if you comment on their stories, it goes directly to the direct messages. So I've done a lot of, making comments. I try and do like 20 comments a day, 20 direct message replies and stories. And it tells the algorithm that you're active. And I've been opening a lot of relationships that way without having to pick up the phone and cold call for a coffee meeting. I've opened them up naturally, and geography is immaterial. So you can find realtors that you want to talk to and be genuine, be social. Say, hey, that's super cool. That's awesome. Hey, you tell them about yourself. I have kids. You have kids. I'm a veteran. You're a veteran. So it's just you create those connections, which is what social media is all about.
100%. I like it. So as far as how many times, so you're doing Instagram every day on your YouTube channel, is it once a week? Is it twice a week? What's the timeline of what you would say consistency equals when posting on YouTube?
That's one thing I have to work on. I originally had wanted to do once a week. From what I'm finding in my research, it's going to be twice a week. I'm trying to figure out a way to how to be more consistent that way, because I think long form YouTube, nobody wants to do it, but I think that is where it's going. Is everything's going to longer videos, so creating that long form content. So I would like to. My goal is to get to 2 a week and do 8 a month, and whether you batch them all that way, that's what I want to get to. But also, right now on Instagram is staying consistent on the reels every day.
Like it. So when we talk about long form content, for those that maybe don't know what that means, what is long form content?
Long form content is generally anything over a minute, technically, but
Okay.
generally anything over 10 minutes. So
Yeah.
the
So
goal
some
is,
more educational where you're really diving in, a little bit of a deeper dive, sharing more of either the story behind what you're doing or really explaining it more in detail instead of just catching attention.
absolutely.
Good. Okay. Now, when you're building this content, obviously you got two different people you're targeting, right? Targeting agents or we're targeting clients, right? Directly going consumer direct from that aspect.
Mhm.
Do you differ in the content you're creating to market to each party, or is it the same?
It's basically the same. Ultimately, there's topics in mortgage land like FHA, VA, reverse mortgage. It's all the same kind of content. I think just by showing up, and if you can provide a piece of content that the realtors who might not do content can share with their clients, it kind of accomplishes the same goal. It's just talking about relevant topics like the Fed raising the rate and what that means for their mortgage rates. So that's timely content in addition to your evergreen content that's more like what's FHA, what's VA, etc.
All right. So, out of all of the, I would say, content things that you've done, what would you say that the percentage of the business that you received is from that? Just out of curiosity.
I'd say directly, I'd say it's at least 10 to 15%. However, every client has, like for instance, I have a loan estimate video and a closing disclosure video. And as part of
Yeah.
my in-process marketing, they get a copy of that. So it's all the realtors get it. So everyone's viewing my content every step of the way, whether they become a lead, or become a contract, post closing. So it's just keeping them in that ecosphere.
Oh, that's smart. So when you look back and say, I'll say even if it was recently, I know on my team, I've seen a bunch of emails talking about property tax assessed value, right? And I've seen some ones where my team members are just saying, well, I've had the best response ever because they gave them the link to, or like pulled the, what is it, Canary report. It's basically like an AVM and say, hey, use this when you're going to rebuttal for your property tax evaluation, and that's been huge. Where
Mhm.
I'm leading with this question is, what has been the most successful post, or maybe it's repetitive because it's on the same subject, that gains the most attraction for you?
Yeah, because I saw this question. There's what's my most successful post on YouTube is moving to Port St. Lucie, moving to your town. And I've done a lot of content that was with my kids at a trampoline park. It was really fun and got a lot of engagement, but not a lot of business from it because it
Yeah,
wasn't. I think that's more good realtor content. It's hyper local, and we don't have to be hyper local.
yeah.
For me, my number one video that converts is 2 VA loans at the same time, and I've done that over and over again. I get calls all over the country from it, and and not always in my state. I send those out to my fellow brokers when I'm not licensed, but that's and I see that happening. So I think if you're going to be on YouTube, talk about mortgages because I think we think oh mortgages are boring. They don't want to talk about that, but that's why they went to YouTube to find that topic and solve their issues.
100%.
So
Yeah. It's definitely an underutilized asset, I would say. I know others that are using it. I'm not using it yet. So I think it's one of the things why I would say personally why I love doing these. I
mhm.
normally I'm normally over here writing notes or I rewatch these, but like I have team member like Major Singleton's one of our guys who's on Grow and Get It, and he's big on YouTube. And it's amazing when you start to see that traction because once again, you're leading from an educational standpoint. And when you become an educator compared to a salesman, it really makes the sale a lot easier because they know and trust and like you because they've had an opportunity to make that decision before they even called you. So, really like it. I mean, I don't know if there could be a better down to the point on Grow and Get It than what you shared today, right? consistency, utilizing multiple platforms, understanding that it's not just paying someone to do it, right? You may have somebody help you, but you're going in and giving authentic comments to the people on theirs, which also helps the algorithms why you show up, right? I mean, you can't just completely take social media and branding and hire someone to do it. I've never known anybody that's done that and it's been completely successful. Now, definitely can get some help with it, but it has to require you to also engage with your followers, with the people that are looking, and maybe they're not buying now. Maybe it's a year from now. And the more you show up on their feed and knowing, well, I know right away that the Dempseys do, home financing, right?
Mm.
If they don't know that, they're living under a rock because everybody knows it, right? You guys do a good job at social, which is how even people like you and I have got a chance to, I would say, not only meet but become friends. Even though we live, I'm in Minnesota,
Yeah,
and you're in the other part of the country, right?
exactly. Yeah, I mean, definitely 100%. Basically, what you're saying, just in feedback from the clients I talk to, if they find you on YouTube and they know you, it's almost like you're a celebrity because basically this is the new television, guys. Like,
Yes.
kind of look around. Does everybody have a phone? Yes. More people have phones than electricity to charge them. That is where people are. That's where attention, because it's a competition for attention. And if you can interrupt them, whether through scrolling or have YouTube content that educates them, they're going to watch all of your videos and they're going to almost kind of like you're famous. It felt kind of weird the first few times. You're like, you sound just like you do in your videos. I'm like, okay, I just did a video on VA or something, but it's called a parasocial relationship. It's kind of like you see the guy in the movie or TV. It's like that guy would be my friend, but that guy's a fictional character. So you create that connection, and it happens when they watch content. So that's why they call it influencers and followers. So you create that valuable content and build those relationships. I think that's the way to do it.
That is the way to do it. I couldn't agree more. One last question.
Mhm.
With the content that you're creating, are you paying for any of those on sponsored ads? Is it worth brokers to look when you're creating? Because I believe all of those platforms also have to where you can start paying for sponsored ads, right?
Yes.
Are you doing that?
I have, and I agree with it. Particularly, one tactic is you can get a list of realtors with their first name, last name, email address, and cell phone, and upload as a CSV to Facebook, and it'll go out and find their Facebook account. And you can almost sniper focus your videos. So if you've done a bunch of content and reels, you can upload those to Facebook Ad Manager, and you can target that specific list of people with your video. So on Facebook and Instagram, and it'll pop up, and then when you're calling, it's like, man, I see you everywhere for some reason. I wonder why. so that's definitely one tactic that you can use, and it's pennies a day, like that you can do.
That's awesome, Emmett. Thank you. Thank you for sharing some things that I hope our members got something from there. I know I was able to take down a couple of things. I know on the YouTube, the long form is something that I want to start investing a little bit more time and energy to. But thank you. Thank you for showing up today, helping our community to go out and grow and get it. Thank you for those that tuned in. You can catch us every week, 12 o'clock Eastern in the Brokers Are Better Facebook group. Or if you want to check out a past episode, maybe you're needing some good tips. You got a great one here from Mr. Emmett Dempsey. Go to our YouTube page at AIME National. We have all of our previous guests on there, short clips to help you go out and grow and get it. Emmett, I look forward to seeing you again here soon, as I know for sure I'll see you at Fuse. Hope to see you at an event before then. Thank you for your involvement. Thank you for your care and trying to help others as you do and leading by example. Wishing you an amazing day, my friend.
Yeah.